People think that manifestation is about creating a future. It isn't. It's about stopping the past from repeating. And if you have been trying to manifest for months or even years, and the same patterns just keep showing up, this is why. Most people are trying to change what happens without changing what keeps happening through them. And that is why manifestation feels inconsistent. Like it works briefly and then life just snaps back. Not because the universe is testing you, not because you didn't visualize enough, but because your system is still running the same prediction. Your brain is not a wish engine. It is a prediction machine. It constantly forecasts what will happen next and then quietly adjusts your behavior, your attention, your reactions to match that forecast. And here's the part that almost nobody explains properly. Your identity is not a truth. It is a forecast. Your nervous system builds a model of who you are based on repetition. Once that model stabilizes, your machine protects that model. So it filters out opportunities or inopportunities. It shapes reactions. It interprets events in ways that keep the same version of that life running. This is neuroscience too. And that's why people say that they feel stuck. Not because life stopped offering opportunities or possibilities. It's because their system no longer recognizes those opportunities, possibilities. And I know this personally. Like for most of my adult life, I repeated the same patterns. Financial pressure, relationships where I gave more than I received, always being the responsible one, always carrying the load. Now, I studied manifestation for decades. I read the books. I applied the techniques and still the same outcomes returned. And then I became seriously ill. Cancer, tumor, chemotherapy, surgery, everything slowed down. And for the first time, I wasn't trying to escape my life. I was forced to understand it. And after each chemotherapy session, sometimes the same day, sometimes the next day, it would hit me. 3 or 4 days where I would feel so weak that I could barely move. I'm vomiting, sleeping, completely depleted. And during those days, it was so easy to just slip back into the old patterns. And I would think, am I ever going to get out of this? And I'd say to myself, I feel so bad. And sometimes I'd even think so bad that I don't even want to wake up. And then I realized something. Every time I said those things, every time I confirmed how bad I felt, I was keeping myself stuck in the identity of being sick. My reactions were reinforcing the pattern. So I changed what I did with those moments. When I was vomiting, instead of narrating how terrible I felt, I thought, my body is cleaning itself. When I was exhausted, instead of confirming weakness, I thought, my body is healing itself. And I started visualizing my future differently. I'd see myself walking healthily, like near the canal, near my house. I would imagine myself pushing the weights at the gym, walking out feeling refreshed and strong. Not dramatic recoveries, just normal scenes of being healthy. And that shift, that interruption of the old pattern or the old reaction, that is when everything began to change. That's when something became clear to me. The ancient teachings and the modern teachings, they were all pointing to the same mechanism. Almost every modern teacher missed the most important part. Manifestation does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are stabilized in. And this is why visualization is so misunderstood, because imagination is not the same thing as visualization. Visualization is only a tool. Imagination is the mechanism. And if you cannot visualize, you're not missing anything. You imagine all day long without pictures. When you think about something and your body reacts, that is imagination. When you anticipate an outcome and you feel tension or ease, that is imagination. When you remember something and your posture or your breath changes, that is imagination. Your nervous system responds to implication, not imagery. And this is why Neville Goddard said, feeling is the secret. Not emotion, not excitement, implication. And what does this mean about me if this is true? Now that question is answered instantly in the body. So when I teach visualization, I do it carefully, not because images create reality, but because images can help some people access the correct state. Now, if you are visual, you may use imagery. And if you're not, you don't need it at all. The instruction is the same for everyone. You are not trying to excite yourself. You're not trying to convince yourself. You are not trying to escape your current life. You are allowing your system to experience the normality of fulfillment. And this is where people think that I'm teaching them to settle, and I'm not. I'm teaching you how fulfillment actually feels once it is real. When something is fulfilled, it just feels normal. It's not dull, it's not small, just normal. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. If you desire wealth, you do not imagine dramatic moments of success. You imagine living from financial stability, like the ease of decisions, the absence of urgency, the feeling that money supports your life instead of dominating it. You imagine ordinary actions that imply completion, like paying for things without mental strain, planning without calculation, making choices without pressure. Not because the desire is small, but because fulfillment feels settled. And for love, you don't imagine a fantasy or intensity. You imagine the lived reality of being chosen. Let me tell you what I did. Like, soon after healing from cancer, I knew that I was repeating old patterns in relationships. I would say things to myself like, I always pick the same person, or they're not going to be interested on me, or nobody can be trusted. And I realized I was doing the same thing that I had done with my health. I was confirming the old pattern with every thought. So I stopped. Now, I needed a partner who could fit into my life. I have quite a specific way of living. I follow a particular spiritual practice with rituals and disciplines. Not everyone can fit into that. So I started imagining normal daily scenes with my partner, both of us enjoying the same spiritual practices together, both of us enjoying hobbies together, holding hands on the sofa at home, arms wrapped around me from behind. But here's the specific thing that I imagined for the trust issue. Now, I imagined both of us with our phones on the table in front of us, both being able to pick up each other's phone anytime. Like, no passwords, no hiding anything, no secrecy, just complete openness. Not drama, familiarity. And the perfect person came into my life. I've never felt so safe, so secure, so loved before as I do now. We got married. And even down to the small detail about the phone, it happened from day one. And whenever we change our phones, we always include both of our faces on each other's phone for Face ID, just because we have nothing to hide. We work as a team, we're open. Now, that level of detail manifested because I imagined the implication of trust, not the fantasy of it. For health, you do imagine being healthy, but not by focusing on symptoms disappearing or medical outcomes. Now, health has a universal signature. You've got ease in the body, you've got trust in movement, and the body no longer being a center of attention. When the body is healthy, it fades into the background of life. So you imagine yourself living as the healthy version of you would live, going about your day without your body being a concern, making plans without factoring in your condition to every decision, resting because you are tired, not because you're managing something. If images come naturally, you can use them. If they don't, you don't need them. You simply sense what it would feel like to live inside your body with ease again. And that shift is imagination doing its real work. Now, here's the part that most people miss. The image does nothing on its own. It is only used to touch the state of being. Once the state is accepted, manifestation doesn't continue in imagination. It continues in regulation. And this is where manifestation succeeds or fails. Like, you can imagine perfectly for 10 minutes, and then you can undo it all day long by reacting from the old state of being. Like, every time you tighten internally, every time urgency returns, every time you interpret events from the old identity, the old prediction is reinforced. Let me show you exactly what this looks like and how to interrupt it. So here are the 3 most common moments where people undo their manifestation without even realizing it. So moment 1, morning, you wake up. Now, before you even get out of bed, your mind goes to what you are trying to manifest. If it's money, you think about your bank balance. If it's love, you check your phone for the message that you haven't got. If it's health, you scan your body for symptoms that you might be feeling this morning. And if the thing is not there yet, then anxiety activates. You've got the tightness in the chest, you've got the urgency in the mind, and you think that it's not working. The reaction just confirmed the old identity. And here's what you do instead. You notice the thought arising. Don't push it away. You just notice it. And then you exhale slowly. You relax your shoulders and you ask yourself, what would the version of me who already has this, whatever it is, be doing right now? Not fantasizing, not obsessing, just going about their day. So you do that. You get up, you move forward, you live as if the matter has already been handled. Moment 2, triggering events throughout the day. Like a bill arrives or a message doesn't come from who you were hoping it was coming from. Or somebody says something that touches an old wound. And immediately the old reaction activates. Now, if you're manifesting money, the bill, it triggers panic. If you're manifesting love, the silence from your phone triggers rejection. And if you're manifesting health, the reminder triggers fear. And in that moment, you're back into the old state. The prediction machine is running again. So here's what you do instead. You pause. You do not react. Don't react immediately. Just notice it. Breathe. Notice the tightness in your body. And ask yourself, is this reaction helping or is it confirming? If it's confirming the old pattern, then soften. Let your jaw relax. Let the urgency drop. Handle what needs to be handled without feeding the fear. Moment 3, checking for results. Now, this is where most people break the entire process. You've been imagining, you've been staying calm, and then you check. Whatever it is, you're checking your bank account, you're checking your messages, you're checking the mirror, you check the scales, whatever it is, and the result is not there yet, and you collapse. You think, see, it's not working. And that thought just reset the entire signal. So here's what you do instead. You stop checking obsessively. Now, I know that sounds simple, but it's critical. When I was manifesting money after cancer, I had spent a year not earning as much as I could, getting into a lot of debt because I wasn't working enough. Now, I used to be so scared to look at my bank balance. Like, I would refuse to open my bank app, like feeling tight in my stomach just thinking about it. So instead, I started viewing my bank app daily, but not from fear, from management. I would look to see where I could sensibly save money. What subscription could I stop? What service did I not need anymore? Where could I make small improvements? And I had a realization. There is so much money available in this world. If that money is available, then there is no reason why I can't have access to it. So my thoughts became more controlled. I started imagining money coming in from many different places. And that's what eventually happened. I started side hustles. My awareness opened to opportunities around me. And with each opportunity, I imagined the money coming into my account from each of these sources. And now, to this day, I have successful income sources, multiple income sources. I'm comfortable. I have more money than I ever thought I would be able to earn. And if I remember how I was just 3 years ago, I could never have imagined that I would be in the situation that I am in now. My cancer was the catalyst for a deep dive into modern manifestation and all of the ancient knowledge that I had studied for decades before. So the real practice, it becomes simple. You notice when the old state activates and you do not feed it. You soften instead of rushing. You pause instead of spiraling. You stay present instead of projecting. And this is not positive thinking. This is state control, state of being, state control. This is how the past stops repeating. You are no longer trying to get something. You are becoming unavailable to who you were. And when that happens, reality reorganizes. Not because you imagined harder, not because you believed more, but because the signal that you are broadcasting has changed. Now, let me address something important, because people ask, how long does this take? And here's the truth. Manifestation is not slow. Sequencing, now that can take time. Life doesn't move from A to Z. It moves from A to B to C to D. Now, other people are involved. Other choices need to happen. Other conditions need to align. When I was manifesting my partner, a few months went by. The dates that went nowhere. People who were close, but not quite right. Promising conversations that faded away. And I could have collapsed and thought, it's not working. But I stayed stable. Because what I did not see was that my life was being rearranged. Old friendships were ending. Healing was happening inside me. Expectations were shifting. And the person I eventually met, they were going through their own process too. We could not have met earlier. The timing had to be exact. So when nothing seems to be happening, understand this. The delay is not resistance. It's preparation. But if you emotionally collapse during the wait, then you break the sequence. This is why staying calm is not passive. It's active stabilization. Now, here is what most people do that sabotages everything. They visualize at night and then they react from the old pattern all day long. They get excited about the manifestation, which actually still means that they're still wanting and not having. They tell everyone what they're manifesting, which then invites doubt and opinion and destabilizes the whole signal. They check obsessively for proof, which confirms that they do not believe that it's already handled. All of these things, they undo the work. So let me be very clear about what does work. Visualize briefly and calmly if you are visual, or simply sense the implication of fulfillment if you're not visual. Then spend the rest of your day not confirming the old pattern of you. Don't narrate lack. Don't emotionally rehearse fear. Don't check compulsively for results. Just live. And every time an old reaction tries to activate, and just pause, breathe, soften. That's the practice. This is why manifestation works for people who never visualize and fails for people who visualize obsessively. The mechanism is not fantasy, it's embodiment, where your system accepts something as true. Behavior changes. And when behavior changes, opportunities appear. You notice them. And when opportunities appear and you take them, then outcomes follow. Not magically, mechanically. This is manifestation mechanics. And once you understand it, you stop chasing the future. You just let the correct one arrive. Now, if you're just starting, here is the simplest thing that you can do today or tonight. Stop trying to change outcomes and start interrupting reactions. That's it. So here's how that might look in practice. So once today and once tonight, choose a neutral moment, not when you're spiraling, not when something's already gone wrong, just a normal moment. When you notice yourself thinking about money, love, or health, or your future, don't try to fix the thought. Don't replace it. Don't affirm, and don't visualize. Instead, do this. Pause, exhale slowly, and ask yourself one question. How am I reacting to this right now? And not what you're thinking, not what you want, not what you fear. How is your body reacting? Tight? Rushed? Collapsed? Guarded? Or calm? And then just do one thing. Just soften the reaction. Like, relax your shoulders, slow your breathing just slightly, and let the urgency drop, even by 10%. You are not trying to feel good. You are not trying to feel positive. You are interrupting the old signal. That moment matters more than any visualization. Because manifestation doesn't change when you think differently. It changes when you react differently. Because that's where most of your day is. If you do this once today and once tonight, then you've already begun. Not because something will appear instantly, but because the old pattern has started to be interrupted. An interruption is how prediction loosens. That's the doorway. I best close up now. I've got a client to get to on a call. I wanted to make this very quick. Think I've given you all the information I needed. If you haven't watched me before, my name is Dion Goldsmith. This channel's about manifestation mechanics. Remember, you were never meant to create a new future. You were meant to stop feeding the old one. When that stops, everything changes.